Okay, we can start. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining Data Engineering Pilipinas third webinar in celebration of National ICT Month. We'll go straight ahead with Mike Ogbinar. Over to you, Mike.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Siguro I'll start first by confirming if you can see my screen. Guys, nice. Okay.
Confirm
All
po.
right. Yeah. Good evening. Yung topic natin tonight is about data engineering, no? So, medyo obnoxious yung yung title, no? So, Hidden in Plain Sight, the industry's best kept secret, no? Bakit kaya ganun? So hopefully by the end of this talk, it's actually a short talk lang, no? Kasi I'm sure after nito may mga questions kaya, so we'll spend more time doon. Hopefully by the end of this talk, you have a better appreciation. Ano ba, what does it mean? What does it mean when people talk about data engineering? Bakit siya important? Bakit siya best kept secret, no? And bakit siya, it's a good career to explore, no? Even actually, even if hindi ka maging data engineer, learning data engineering skills, no, is something that will really, uplift yung career mo, no? So, okay. So let's start. So let's start with what is data engineering muna, no? So medyo theoretical. Siguro if we're going to really encapsulate yung definition niya into a very basic meme. Ito yun, yung nasa left side. Teka lang, kuha ko ng laser pointer, no? So, yung picture ni Patrick. We should take this data and move it somewhere else. Yan lang yun. Pag every time nakalimutan nyo, ano bang difference ng data engineer to other, data career paths, no? Yung data analyst, data scientist, maraming data, etc. No? Ito lang talaga yung pinaka function niya is to take one data, move it somewhere else. So, bakit siya sobrang, important and sought after, no, by companies? I'm hoping na mas ma-appreciate nyo tonight. So, on the right side, it's a different lens, no? So, I'm sure everyone knows yung Maslow's hierarchy of needs, no? So, this is a reinterpretation of that, thinking about data, no? So, data and data-driven companies, actually kahit hindi data-driven basta companies that exist, no? Sooner or later, they want to do some sort of reporting. They want to answer questions na that are relevant to how to run their business. And they would need data, no? Yun yung pinaka-basic sa hierarchy of needs, no? Ano bang hierarchy of needs sa tao? Kailangan mo ng food, shelter, security. Ito yun, no? Data. Data siya. And that's actually data engineering. Itong merong red arrow, no? So data engineering is tasked with building the data stack to support these needs, which is what? To be able to extract and load data from the sources and being able to transform those sources into a format or structure na magagamit ng mga upstream talents, no, which are the data analysts and the data scientists, etc. Even the AI engineers, no. So ito yon, so unify and clean raw data sets. So ibig sabihin nun, if walang data engineers, then the data analysts and data scientists and all of the people that need to use and consume data, wala silang data at all to work with. No, yan ang bottom line. Actually, ito pa lang yung slide na to, tapos na yung talk na to, no? And actually, you will hear a lot of mga usually complaints, no, from people na, uy, na-hire ako as a, kunyari, Power BI developer, Tableau, etc., no, na nag-work sila in the data space. If ang company does not have, data engineers, no, or a well-established data management practice, ang mangyayari, sila rin ang magko-collect ng data nila. Ay, nako, 80% ng trabaho ko is looking for data. finding that data, transforming that data, cleaning that data, and 20% lang yung talagang analysis, no? And puro reklamo yung maririnig nyo sa kanila. So, that's it. Actually, yun na yun, no? So, for the next few slides, we will drill down what does it actually mean? Ano bang ibig sabihin nito? And what does it mean to have a career in data engineering? Okay? All right. So, let's look at an example, no? Ano bang, okay, Mike, sige, we're moving data from one place to another. Anong ibig sabihin nun, no? So, yung pinaka-core na workflow ng data engineer is called the ELT pipeline or the ETL pipeline, no? Essentially, ang ibig sabihin nun is extracting data, transforming data, and loading data, no? So, you extract data from the source, you load data into your central database, and you transform it into a form that's usable for people. So ang example natin dito is Waze, no? So I'm sure majority ng mga tao dito knows what Waze is. So if you think about Waze, ano yung mga complexity of yung movement of data, no, for Waze? Unang-una, maraming apps. Napakaraming apps, millions of apps users across the globe, no? Bawat isang person that has a device, that's a data source. So you need to take all of those devices, whether it's iOS, Android, or whatever, you need to start collecting their data. That's your extraction. So you take all of those data, and then you centralize that data. Bakit? Kasi if you don't centralize it, then how are you going to do aggregations, no? How are you going to do comparisons, no, computations on top of that data? So you you collect them and you put it into a central database. So normally in the data parlance, no, sa data space, we call a centralized database that is focused, no, for analytical, no, analytical purposes. It's called a data warehouse. No? And from the data warehouse, you need to be able to transform. So, ibig sabihin ng transform, minsan, yung data na kinolect mo, it's not in the format or structure that is needed by the people that will consume it. No? So, you need it changed, no? Restructured, etc. And that's where you do it. Kasi usually, data warehouses are computationally powerful. No? They need to be able to work with large amounts of data. They need to be able to compute and process large amount of information into more concrete structures for the usage of mga upstream data resources, which are the data analysts, etc. Once matawid tong process na to, then it can be used for further analysis. No? So dito papasok yung mga dashboards. No? Pag nakita niyo yung, yung Waze na app nyo and you try to look for, ay, ano bang itsura ng, kunwari, yung route na pupuntahan ko, mapula ba siya? Di ba? Hindi ba siya mapula? Marami bang kalaban? Mataas ba yung travel time ko? Those are essentially reports. They were computed from the data of nearby devices. No? So yung mga nearby devices nyo, kinolect siya, nilagay siya sa central storage, kinompute. Okay. If si Mike will travel from location A to location B, tatamaan lahat ng locations na to and it takes X amount of time. And if we aggregate all of that, yung total travel time niya is 2 hours, for example. That's your report, di ba? So essentially, that's the pipeline. We call it the ETL or ELT pipeline. Kasi madalas it's in a sequential flow. And that's it. You just, depende sa industry, depende sa problem, the pipeline can, grow bigger, become more complex, or the data will be different. There might be different types of problems or situations, no? Pwede mong palitan yung app, pwedeng pwedeng Tinder, no? Pwedeng Lazada, no? So it can be any type of different, but the flow is essentially the same. It's essentially a pipeline. You look for data, you collect it, and then you process it for the use of other analysts. Okay, so what skills are important to a data engineer? No? So nakita nyo na yung pinaka-general na pipeline. We expanded dito, no, sa left side of the screen. This is called a data engineering lifecycle. No? So different words, but it's essentially the same. you generate data somewhere out there. There is a process for data generation. There is the ingestion, transformation, and the serving, no? And there is some sort of storage that collects them. But essentially, this is the ETL pipeline. And then on the right side, you can see the consumption, which is generally analytics, no? So the analytics can be um, reporting, no? They will generate Excel reports. It can be in the form of visual reporting, Power BI, Tableau. It can be basic statistics, no? It can be using R or Python. And then there is of course yung mga machine learning and AI as well. Minsan, they don't want to do any sort of reporting. They just want to flow that data into another system, no, maybe a CRM, where yung computed na analytics can be attached to other systems, no. So a good example of this is, let's say, gumawa kayo ng scoring system based sa travel time or whatever, no, movement, no. A good example is yun nga sa Waze. Pwede mong i-check kung malapit ba siya sa location ng isang other customer, then i-move siya na pabalik, no? So it's called the reverse ETL. Ibabalik siya dun sa system such that another system will make use of it, meaning hindi siya reporting. Sa ilalim ng typical, no, na data engineering workflow, there are still a lot more, no? Some of these are not anymore related, no, to data engineering, but definitely connected, no? For today, we will not go into detail, no, of ano tong mga to. Pero we'll try to touch, no, to some of them. So ito yung parang pinaka-expanded na workflow. Ano ba usually yung mga related na skills na dito sa right side? You can summarize them into technology, no? Ano yung mga technology skills? Usually and madalas, it's programming. You need to have very good analytical skills, no? And you should be able to translate it into programming skills. And then you need to have familiarity with different tools. No? Sobrang raming tools sa data engineering. I'll try to touch on that later. And then you also need to have soft skills. Now, ang maganda sa data engineering, you don't need it too much, but it's still important. No? It's not katulad ng ibang data career paths where malaking expectation to you sa'yo is to do a lot of public presentation, a lot of interfacing with customers or senior leadership. Meron pa rin ganon sa data engineering, yes, because you need to have like upward trajectory, no? You need to be able to convince people when it comes to technical leadership. Pero it's not as much, no? It's madalas it's mostly really centered around technical discussions. Yan. So if you like, no, mga technical stuff, data engineering career path is a good way to go. Okay. So, pero siguro what I want to highlight here is number one na skill talaga is to learn SQL. Sa totoo lang, learning ETL is already a good way to start. Because minsan there are some data engineering roles that don't actually do any sort of programming. No? Ito yung classical na data engineering roles. Ito yung mga ETL engineer. Yan. EAI, no? So, integration engineer is also another term. Madalas, no, historically, they usually use mga GUI based na tools, no, like Informatica. But I would recommend learning SQL because at the end of the day, you will always need to interact with some sort of database kasi, no. SQL would be the best starting point. You can also learn other languages like Python, Java, etc. But they are secondary. So you can think of the other languages as your parang Swiss knife. If hindi siya SQL or hindi siya GUI based, then probably you can use Python, for example. But SQL is a good starting point. Okay, ito yung sinasabi ko kanina, no, na actually ang raming tools, no, sa data engineering. But essentially, you can siguro yung one thing na I would like you guys to take away from this is itong terminology na to. Yung tinatawag na modern data platform, no. It's actually what's separating madalas, no, the classical data engineer roles versus yung mga mas modern na data engineering setups is ang data engineering today needs to be familiar with the modern data platform. Bakit? Kasi yung historical na data platforms are usually very monolithic. When you say monolithic, it's designed to be just one flow, no, one setup lang, and madalas hindi siya scalable. A modern data platform is designed to be open and scalable. With what it means is that over time, the more users that comes in, the more data that it needs to ingest or use, or the more processing time, or the faster na may requirements, as well as the more yung parang upstream integration, like kailangan mag-connect with machine learning, things like that. The platform needs to be able to support that. No? It doesn't need to be cloud, but syempre the trend kasi is cloud na. So it's either way. There are a lot of architectures, no? Architectures that are workable for on-prem. Pero I think the general trend is cloud. So maganda rin to learn cloud skills. But for me, either way, yeah, it's good to be able to work with either skills. So maraming nandito, but I would start with just learning the concept about modern data architecture. And then just focusing on ETL. The rest you can learn depende yan sa company that you will eventually land on. Okay, another concept to read about is yung DAMA wheel. So DAMA wheel is the data management wheel. It's coming from the DM book, no, or the data management book. This is actually taught by or discussed or touched upon by JP Acuña, si ASEC, from the last week's talk, no. He talked about data governance. Bakit siya important? Kasi data engineering is actually here, no? Actually, it touches a few parts dito. So one is data warehousing. Another is data modeling and design. No? And probably a bit konti, no, is data architecture. Tinatamaan na rin dito some of the others, pero some of them are either more technical or more data governance related. But data engineering is definitely, no, nandito sa mga to. So these are good to learn later on as you parang progress on your career. Bakit? Kasi you need to be able to learn na there are a lot of things that are working, no, around data engineering. Kasi data engineering is your integration part, but you need to think about data quality, for example. You need to think about how to model, no? Paano re-restructure yung data na hinahandle mo, no? So there's a book called DM book. Actually, ano siya, yan yung parang pinaka-bible na talaga ng mga data engineers. I don't recommend to buy it kaagad. I would suggest starting with the basics, which is the technical parts. And then later on, pag medyo nag-progress ka na sa career mo, then you can start reading about this. Okay. Who needs data engineers? Marami actually, no? But I would focus on two things. The first one is sinong mga companies ang data mature? Or digitally mature. So this is a report by McKinsey back in 2017. It tries to rank mga different industries based on their digital maturity. I think nag-progress na to since ilang years ago na to. But it's a good indicator of how mature the different industries are compared to each other. So how can you think about this? Siguro suggestion ko is that if bago kang data engineer, you should start with the more mature industries to get a feel of, parang meron kang established environment. And then pag medyo marunong ka na and gusto mo nang mag-adventure, punta ka sa mga medyo less developed, and then you help them set up, no? And that's where the money comes in, no? That's advice ko lang 'yan, no? And sa totoo lang, no, data engineers are always in demand. Papakita ko ng mga examples yan later. You can also look at targeting yung mga biggest companies, no? So this is just a list from some website where marami silang indicators of digital presence or syempre yung mga asset nila, no? So kasi itong mga companies ito, they can afford a data engineer, no? Uy, teaser yan, afford, no? So magandang I'll talk about that later. Okay, next is bakit ko siya ini-emphasize, no? Why am I emphasizing about data engineers? Because there's a gap. The gap is everyone is talking about AI, no? Number one today. AI this, AI that. And then everyone, 5 years ago, everyone is talking about data science. Even today, mas sikat pa ang Tableau, ang Power BI, etc. Pero if you think about it, nasa higher part sila, no? Medyo higher, higher part of the hierarchy of needs. Ang data, no, nasa baba, no? If wala kang data, wala tong mga to. And actually, nararamdaman siya ng mga data scientists and data engineers and AI engineers and even mga analysts. Every time na they make projects, malaking emphasis ng training nila is how to collect data, how to clean data, how to process data such that it's usable, no? By analysts, such that ang laking time ng career nila, they're wasted on moving data around. But the skills, no, of being able to create the architecture for data and being able to move data around in an efficient manner, yan ang hallmark of a data engineer. And this is just Google Trends lang to, no, for the past 12 months. Tama ba? 12 months. Yes. No, so comparing data engineering, AI engineering, and data science. Ang AI engineering, I think nag-start lang siyang mag-show up siguro 2 years ago, pero zero siya beyond that. Pero, medyo tapat na sila, and I'm sure it's going to shoot up na in the next few months. Data science is up here. Data analyst is actually somewhere here, no? Sobrang taas niya. But hindi relatively unknown, no, ang data engineering. So what does it mean? It means no one is looking at this. Bakit gano'n, no? So pero everyone knows na it's a problem. Okay. So is data engineering for you? It really depends, no? Maraming reasons to go into data engineering. I'll just cite very quickly. Ito, coming from DeepSeek. Tinanong ko si DeepSeek. Yan. So, ano yung top 5 reasons, no? High demand. I'll show you later anong ibig sabihin ng high demand. Lucrative salary, no? So, this is just an example. Impactful yung work kasi very obvious yung result. If nag-collect ka ng data, people will be able to use that data. If hindi ka mag-collect, walang data at all. So it's very concrete yung impact mo. Technical growth, para every year there's always something new to learn, no? And versatile yung career kasi napakaraming pwedeng puntahan after. Pag ma-board ka mag-data engineer, mag-data scientist ka. Ayaw mo, pumunta ka ng AI, no? There's so many things that you can do. Fastest growing siya, no? In terms of reported to in 2025, no? Big data specialist, data warehouse, housing specialist. These are, just other names for data engineer, no? Nasa siya, top 10, no, of the fastest growing careers reported in 2025. I presented this I think last year. 2 years ago. So in 2023, ito yung average salary. This was reported by ERI, no? And today, nag-increase siya by 50,000, no? So siya, no? It's this is average, no? I'll show you some specific offers mamaya. Ayan, ito pala. So when I did this presentation in 2023, ito yung numbers, no? Pinopost to sa mga Facebook groups. So makikita niyo yung mga yung mga numbers diyan, no? So syempre, caveat, usually yung mga may asking, this is experience or mga high level engineers. But what I'm saying here is that just being able to go into this career path, assuming you really stick to it and nagustuhan mo siya, you will eventually get to these numbers, no? That's what I'm saying. So this was in 2023, and then I tried to check ano ba yung mga pinopost for this year. Ito, is that hindi siya nagbago, no? Yan siya. Puro mga large numbers yan, no? Syempre, assuming it's something that you really want to do, no? Okay, siguro one thing na I'd like to emphasize is you also need to look at the values, no, of what's important for you. As a data engineer, I think these are the most important that will really resonate to a person, no, that wants to go into this career path. First, do you like problem solving? If you're the type that likes looking at problems and na-excite ka if there's a puzzle that you need to solve, in this case, mga pipelines, then a data engineering career path is good for you. Next is, do you want precision? Data engineers look at a lot of numbers and a lot of metrics. So making sure now when you move data from one place to another, it's error free, no? When people use it, you are able to detect errors and correct them and clean them. That's data engineering. Continuous learning. So kanina pinakita ko ang raming software applications. It's continuing to grow. I think every week merong bago na namang data engineering tool. So there's always something new to learn. And you know, keeping up with what's state of the art, sabihin na natin, no? Is actually iba yung term sa data engineering. It's not state of the art. It's scalable. Yan ang favorite ng mga data engineers. Ano bang scalable? Yan. So there's always something new. Next is collaboration. Ang data engineer is usually nasa gitna ng labanan, no? Kasi you need to talk with source systems, you need to talk with IT, you need to talk with yung consumers mo, which is the data analyst and the reporting team, etc. So you need to be able to collaborate with people. So madalas you act as a bridge, no? And then the last one is scalable systems. You want efficiency, no? So madalas magko-code ka, ay mabagal, hindi ka makakatulog na na bakit mabagal yung code mo, you want to be able to review it, ang tawag dito, meron kang system na sinetup, no, hindi niya kaya hindi efficient yung pag-store ng data, gusto mong i-double check bakit siya, ang tawag dito, parang hindi efficient yung pag-store, meaning, pwede kaya pa niya dapat ng mas marami or faster yung pag-move ng data. No? So, scalability. No? So, ito yung parang for me, no, top 5 na values na pinaka-important sa data engineering. If this resonate with you, then malamang you will enjoy having a career in this area. Okay, career path. So this is actually a framework published by AAP. You can look for it, no? So the data engineering, actually, the data and analytics and AI skills framework, no? So you can look at it. It was published, I think, a few years ago. So nandito merong column dito sa data engineer. Syempre nandito yung iba pang data career path, no? So you can see kung ano yung mga pwede nyong puntahan, and then if you want to focus and specialize, no, saan kayo pwede mag-focus, no? Okay, so before I end, no, last few slides na to, we created the community, no? It's called Data Engineering Pilipinas. I suggest you join if you want to learn more about this career path. So, ano yung benefits for you? So, let me walk you through. First is skill enhancement. We do a lot of sharing. Networking, maraming tao dito. So, you can just add people sa LinkedIn and, progress your career from there. Malay mo in the future, some of these people will be your boss, no? Or you need to look for people that will work with you or be part of your team. Stay updated. Maraming chismisan na nangyayari dito, no? So, nag-share ng mga kwento, mga update sa mga technologies, no? Problem solving, marami rin nag-share ng problems. So you can help each other in terms of problem solving. It's a global community. No, I'll talk about this later. No? It's part of PyData. And then syempre, you can inspire people. No? So marami nag-share ng stories nila and maraming nagme-mentor, sabihin na natin. No? And you get to grow with the group, no? The community. Maraming programs kaming pinapatakbo. So we have a website, you can check it later. We have a Data Masters group, which is essentially parang sharing siya and practice ng mga interviews. We're a partner of Data Camp. We also have a sandbox, no, system. We call it the Puso Project, where you can practice yung skills mo. Some statistics. So we started 2 years ago. Currently, we're around 35,000. Ito yung distribution, no? We're really scattered a lot and we've partnered with a lot of different organizations. AAP is one, syempre DICT ngayon through AAP. DataCamp, FTW, Tutorials Dojo, Python Philippines, and even the different schools na UP, DLSU, etc. No? So we work with a lot of different groups and communities and institutions. We also do meetups. So this was done in 2024. And then this is a picture of 2025. So mas marami ng taong sumasali. No? And that's it. No? So just to recap, Data Engineering Pilipinas is a community committed to making digital data and AI literacy accessible and inclusive for all. So sali kayo dyan. Data engineering as a career, no? So you just move data from one place to another. Pero sobrang important yan, no? And one thing na I'd like to emphasize is we're a PyData group. So if you started experimenting with some open source tools, PyData ang nag-sponsor niyan. So NumPy, MATLAB, Pandas, Jupyter, that's all PyData. No? So how do you start? You just go to our website, no? dataengineering.ph. And that's it. Thank you, guys. Oh, questions pala, no? Pero kung wag na magtanong na lang kayo kay, actually, if may questions kayo, you can ask the next speaker. Kasi siya ang susi. So,
Si
save
Kayla
niyo yung,
Susi, yung sweldo nasa yung mic eh. Yung pera nasa iyo. O, ano
yung
pa?
questions niyo, save niyo kay Kyle kasi siya ang ano lang ako, front runner. Sige.
And
Alright. Mike, thank you. Kyle, over to you.
Good evening, everyone. So thank you for that talk, Sir Mike, regarding a background about DE. So I think for me, what I wanted to share for this talk is the mindset that enables you to learn yung mga binanggit ni Sir Mike kanina, no? Yung mga tools, yung mga concepts that are needed for you to what you say this to learn and start a career in data engineering and data science. No? I wanted to talk about the mindset that you need to have, especially in the data field, no? Kasi nga maraming bago talaga, no? Every day yung mga AI, yan yung mga architectures, yung mga practices, no? Marami talaga nagbabago. So that's what I wanted to talk about today, having a growth mindset in a tech career, no? So this is the agenda for today. What I'll just give like a quick intro doon sa background ko, no? And I'll share with you some practical examples on my experience, and then the mindset and how to shift that mindset, no? Using the APR framework, and then some resources to work with, right? So to start off, no, let me do a quick intro, no, about myself. So I'm currently acting as the data technology lead for Cognizant. So I'm actually deployed to a client, and then I manage I would say a team of data engineers and business intelligence developers, right? The usual data team. Right? So I have 6+ experience in data analytics in that field. So I also have some couple of AWS certifications, and then you can connect with me on LinkedIn. And then I also write technical blogs, so you can find my blogs in devto/KL Escocia. So that's a little bit about me. So let me tell you about some practical examples that I encountered early on in my career. No? It was during my I would say second year of my career when I got to work early on with Amazon Redshift. No, so Amazon Redshift, just to give a background, it's about or it's a data warehouse service ni AWS, no, so you can load like gigabytes of data, petabytes of data in Redshift, and then you can query yung mga data na yun na load mo. So it's basically a database, no? So we use it in our implementations for yung nga, data warehouses, lake houses sa mga clients, no. So there was this one time that I was doing some training, no, training to knowledge transfer doon sa mga magde-develop ng solution or mag-implement ng solution, no. And then I was trying to demo si Redshift as a tool, no. So tawag dun, so fast forward, when we're doing the trainings and all, how to load the data in Redshift, how to query Redshift, how to connect Redshift to what they call this, to Power BI, for example. Yun, tapos na yung session and all. So all things were fine until so nangyari yung yung ano na yun is I remember it clearly, around the 27th of the month, no. So dumating yung bill sa akin ng AWS ng like July 1 gano'n. Dumating sa akin yung AWS bill and then nakita ko yung bill ng AWS account, Sandbox account namin na nag-ano siya, nag 1,500, no. Tapos parang ongoing pa rin siya up until 1,800 gano'n. So basically ang final na naging bill nung July 2 nung na-terminate ko yung instance and all, no, is 2,000. So nung nangyari actually yun, nasa bus ako, no, and then I was, actually kinakabahan na ako, pinagpapawisan ako, nakatakip naman sa'kin yung aircon pero, pinagpapawisan ako, no. So kasi nga ang taas nung bill, di ko alam paano siya babayaran, no, sa kumpanya. Kasi at the end of the day cost yun sa'min, eh, no. So tawag dun, so fast forward, I would say na I needed to terminate the instance, no, nung in terms of para ma-stop yung cost, no. So it's a typical cloud horror, I would say, na I'm sure you'll like encounter on I won't say, I don't want you to encounter this. You'll hear this sa internet, no, once you do a search, no. I'm sure some engineers can relate. So ayun, so once na-identify ko yung ano, yung kung nasaan siya, actually nasa ibang region siya, so no way no way ko siyang makita talaga at the first glance. So I needed to do like deep dive, no, sa mga regions ni AWS kasi si AWS maraming regions yan, no. And unfortunately, may nag-spin up ng Redshift cluster sa ibang region. So ayun, I had to look for it and then terminate yon para mag-stop yung cost, no. So ayun, fast forward until such time na kung paano ko siya iaano, no, kung paano ko ire-resolve yung issue and paano ko baka may way to reimburse, no, hindi ko babayaran ng sahod ko, no. So I reached out to AWS support for the reimbursement. So fortunately they granted my my plea for the reimbursement, no. So hindi ko siya binayaran eventually. So yun, some background, no. Siguro in terms of the mindset that I had back then. So yun, I learned something from that experience, no. From that moment on, I always make sure to unang-una kasi yung when we do the session, no, hindi ko masyadong nilimit yung mga powers, I would say, ng mga users ng mga nagte-training, no. Siguro I assumed na hindi naman nila gagawin yun. So parang yung mga learnings ko doon is na-apply ko naman siya all throughout my career. Naging cost conscious ako, no. Kapag may hindi ginagamit ng mga instances, usually I turn it off, no, para hindi mo siya makalimutan na nakabukas pala, no. Magugulat ka na lang, no, na mataas na yung cost na nakukuha mo. So I would say yung mga learnings nun, I took it and then hindi ko masyadong dinamdam yung failure na yun, I would say, no. Instead, I created some I would say ways for me to resolve that issue. So that's how I sorted out that kind of experience, I would say. So the importance of the mindset back then actually perceives how you, I would say, view the world, how you perceive others, and what is your role in the world, I would say. And it also influences your choices, your habits, and it can lead to some impact in terms of the results, whether positive or negative, no? So obviously gusto natin positive na. So and also determines your happiness and fulfillment, no? So what do you need to do in terms of I would say avoid in terms of getting to that path, no? So I would say in the first box, no, fixed mindset, no. A challenge is a test that I pass or fail based on my inherent abilities. If I'm not already good at something, I will not do well. So that's an example of a fixed mindset, no. So hindi ka open para sa improvement, no. So parang ano lang siya, black and white na 1 or 0 lang, na it's either pass or fail lang ako. And then there's also some reactive mindset wherein you say that I need to identify the problem, what is causing it, so I can try tested well practice solutions to bring situation under control. So in a certain way, it's correct, no? Pero parang nagiging ano pa rin, mabalik pa rin siya sa part na fixed yung mindset, no? So certainty mindset, I would rather things go accordingly to plan than to take a detour that may end up better, no? So parang isa lang yung tinitingnan mong ano, plans, na we all know na sometimes talaga na things don't go the way that you want them to be. Expert mindset, I should already know the answer and be able to perform. At some extent, it's correct, but I think we can frame it better, no? So, so the growth mindset compared to fixed mindset, I can learn to do anything I want. Parang you're open to challenges and mistakes, and you use it for opportunities for you use those opportunities, the challenges and mistakes, for learning and development. So in terms of creative mindset, usually what you need to frame is I need to lead with purpose, and then I will empower myself as well as yung mga others to explore yung mga other solutions, other innovative solutions, no? So exploration mindset. So one of the traits of a good engineer, I would say, is yun nga, yung part na nag-explore ka talaga and curious ka talaga, no? So na hindi mo alam yung what the future holds. So the best way to succeed is to plan ahead, I would say, and but also be flexible, no, and curious as you go, no. The flexibility is the key there, no. Need to be flexible kasi what if yun nga hindi talaga nag-work yung plan, usually matataranta ka, magpapanik ka, no, and hindi ka na makakaisip ng maayos, no. So curious mindset, of course, I'm going to ask a lot of questions, explore and discover. I can learn a lot from trying something new, no? So it's very self-explanatory. You just need to be curious, no, in everything that you do. So yeah. So how can you shift to that mindset, I would say, no? There's this actually yun nga nasabi ni Sir Mike kanina, yung McKinsey. So this is something that I learned from McKinsey. Hindi ako nag-work sa McKinsey, parang nagbabasa lang ako ng mga articles nila, no? So may tinatawag silang APR framework, awareness, pause, and reframe. So in terms of awareness, questions you should ask is, think of something you have been finding challenging. No, what does it make you think and feel, and what are your mindsets? No, pupunta ka ba dun sa part na merong kang growth mindset, merong kang curious mindset, I would say. Pause, take a pause in this very moment to center yourself, maybe take a few deep breaths or plant your feet on the floor, no? Parang syempre kailangan mong take in yung mga ano na yun, no? Yung mga that moments when you encounter something, no? And then reframe. So the reframing is important as well. What opportunities would there be if you were to shift your mindset, no? So ayun, basically turning challenges and problems or mistakes into opportunities, no? Ano yung mga other na nakikita mong learning opportunities from that experience? So questions you can ask, no, from fixed mindset to growth. How can this challenge be opportunity? What could be possible if I learn and develop from this experience, no? So yung mga questions na ganyan, no? Something that you can ask yourself, no? Expert to curious, what questions, new perspectives, opportunities do I want to further explore, no? Yeah, kung may fresh eyes ka, no, kumbaga start assuming you are a beginner and forgetting what you know, what would I get curious about, and what else can I learn, no, from that? So what would be possible if I could embrace the struggles that come with learning something new, no? Obviously nandun yung uncertainty na tsaka magulo, no, na hindi mo alam talaga, and you just need to embrace those struggles and basically gawin mo na lang. Sometimes may ganun, di ba? Reactive to creative, no? What is the bigger why? What am I solving for, no? The purpose, I would say. this challenge actually had an opportunity to create something different and better. What would I want? What could I imagine that would be what would be important, meaningful, yung mga ganun, no? What is the smallest step that I can take towards getting to the state that I desire? No, yung mga questions na pwede mong i-ask sa sarili mo. So, yeah, I'll share with this. I'll share the slides with you later. And of course, yung mga resources, no. May video dito, the power of believing that you can improve, no. It's just that you need to accept that hindi mo talaga alam lahat, and meron at meron kang hindi alam. So you need to be humble and accept criticisms, feedback. So actually ako, I always accept criticisms as long as it's constructive, definitely, no? And take that as an input or feedback to I would say to be a better version of myself. So kaya gustong-gusto kong ka-work yung mga magagaling talaga, no, kasi it's something na parang matututo talaga ako sa kanila. So ayun. So there are two of my favorite bands, no, Panic at the Disco and Paramore. I just leave with you some message, or I would say quotes based dun sa mga kanta nila, no. Isa dun yung High Hopes, no. So may ano doon na have to have high hopes for a living and shooting for the stars when I couldn't make a killing and didn't have a dime but I always had a vision. No? It's about yun nga, basically well, high hopes, no. You need to have high hopes in terms of how you view life, no, in general. And meron pang isa is Ain't It Fun kay Paramore. What are you gonna do when the world don't orbit around you, no? Ibig sabihin, paano ka mag-react kung hindi na literal na nag-revolve yung ano, kasi parang a lot of times we think that the world revolves around us, the people that we encounter with revolves around us, which is hindi yun totoo. So what are you gonna do when the world don't orbit around you, know? Use the I would say APR framework, no? So actually that's the end. That's the end of the talk. It's pretty quick one, I would say, pero we can always do sessions later, no? So ayun nga, I would say practice what you preach, no? So there's a feedback form on my end, no? Kasi nga I wanted to improve myself, no? So I wanted some feedback on your end if you learned something, or you, this is something that you can use in terms of your learning development, I would say, whether you're career shifter or starting out, or even in the middle of kumbaga experience na kayo, and then you wanted your career to move forward, no? Hopefully you were able to pick something up, no? So yeah, pretty much.
Thank you, Kyle. Alam na alam niyo, ang dami ng pinagdaan ng hugot ni ano yun. Ni Kyle, na-compile na. Pwede na magsulat ng libro si Kyle.
Hindi naman po. Something na-experience ko lang and shinare ko lang sa community.
Yeah, and dapat ganyan naman talaga tayo, continuous yung sharing. Oh, let's open up for questions. Kyle, may question si Sarah. Recommended specs ng laptop to begin this journey.
To begin this journey, recommended
Data engineering usual natin.
Usually yung mga work laptop na binebenta, I would say is it's more than enough, no? And it's also a challenge actually. So given the constraints of your machine, I would say, how would you optimize your pipelines, I would say, yung mga codes na inaalam nyo to run on a limited number of resources, I would say. So it's actually a challenge, no? You can treat it as a challenge, no? Kung meron kayong old laptop dyan, ano yung pwede nyong i-run ng mga tools doon? How would you push that resource or that old laptop to its limits, no? So yeah, wala naman siyang required na ano, no? Usually yung iba sabihin 8 gig ganun na. 60 gig hindi naman ganun, no? And anyways, may cloud naman if ever, no? So yeah.
Kaya ako tatanong yung kay Joven. Kay Jerry muna. Ay, sorry. Kay Aloysius. Any tips po for fresh grads to kickstart their career on data engineering?
I would say two paths, no. Yun nga isang sinabi ni Sir Mike na hanap ka ng magandang company, well-established company. Pero I did the latter kasi no. I joined a small company kasi I like to challenge myself and basically given what I know coming straight out of college, no. How can I would say push my limits, no? Ano yung mga kailangan kong aralin para I can take my career to the next level, I would say. So early on na figure out ko naman siya, no. Kasi nga I was able to have some broad responsibilities, no. End to end talaga from data engineering hanggang data science, no. Machine learning pa nun, BI machine learning pa trend nun. So I was able to do it end to end, I would say. So ganun kasi yung naging experience ko. Pero yun, hindi naman lahat actually swerte lang siguro. But hindi lahat magkakaroon ng ganung opportunity. But at the end of the day, I would say make the most out of it. Whether you join a big company, no, na established, take everything that they're doing, and then I would say take it with a grain of salt din kasi hindi lahat ng kumpanya pare-pareho. Parang take in yung mga best stuff doon sa ano na yun, and how do you do that, no, by actually researching, no, what other companies are doing, no? So yeah, I would say. And then of course yun nga, yung talk natin kanina, no, don't forget the curious mindset and the growth mindset. It's okay to fail, I would say. So yeah.
Itong question ni Jerry, siguro for both of you, Mike and Kyle, do you enjoy being a tech lead? Lalo na si Mike, ano na yan, bossing na yan. Do you enjoy being a tech lead in data engineering? In-offered daw kasi siya ng current company, pero nag-decline kasi magiging less technical. So, totoo din ba na nagiging less technical as you progress your career path? Wala na bang parang in addition lang doon, may space pa ba tayo na magstay sa technical as you move the career path?
Sino sir? Ikaw muna. Mike,
Ikaw
or-
muna, Kyle, kasi ikaw ang nandiyan ka eh. Diba?
Sige. I would say yes and no. Yung naging experience ko of a tech lead kasi ngayon is more on unblocking the team on their technical issues, and then well, it doesn't make me less technical kasi you need to have the technical capabilities for you to help the team, I would say, no. So let's say there's an issue with the SQL, mali yung aggregation, mali yung join, for example, no. It's up to you to figure out bakit siya mali. You need to have the technical capability that asking the right questions, I would say. So saan galing yung data, bakit ito yung joining keys mo, bakit ganito yung way mo ng pag-aggregate, no. So yung in terms of ang behavior ng source system, isa pa yun, no. Yun yung mga practical examples, I would say, na hindi ka actually magiging less technical. I would say even more technical kasi meron ka ng broad view ng business, and then how would you apply technical I would say how would you apply technical optimizations on top of doon sa current state ng, let's say, data pipelines, for example. And another one would be yung maybe you spend less time writing codes, I would say. Kasi nga you're in charge of the team, you need to do the agile ceremonies and you need to speak with the business stakeholders nung pinoproduce mong report, for example. So yeah, basically.
Mike, ikaw naman, mas mataas ka na eh.
Sige. Siguro two things, no. Definitely dinanan ko yung ganyang question before. So, when I graduated, set in stone, set ako sa mind ko na parang gusto ko talaga technical path lang. Umabot sa point na I was being invited for leadership roles. Talagang tinatakasan ko siya, parang kunyari, I think there was a time na hahawak ng project or magiging team lead. Talagang, ay, ayoko yan. Gusto ko humawak na lang ng project kasi doon I can still do more technical stuff. So, siguro what I can give advice around that is, wag ka matakot, siguro. Parang ganun. No? Parang, yes, definitely, it's going to be a trade-off. Hindi yun mawawala. Pero you also need to think about parang how you're building yourself for the future, right? So, definitely, I think in our minds as technical people, parang meron tayong idea na, oy, I want to be parang authentically technical, parang ganun, right? Na parang, ano na, ayoko niya pag nag-lead ako, ano na, medyo people management na yan, no? It's medyo, parang I think you're robbing yourself of opportunity, no? Wala namang nagsasabi na hindi ka na pwedeng gumawa ng technical stuff. Like for example, pwede kang maging, leader, parang pwede kang maging leader in a parang non-technical role, pero you can still like maybe do technical stuff outside of your work, no? Parang if it's really your passion, no? Pero ang siguro what I can give ideas about is that as you go higher, definitely mababawasan yung parang exposure mo, pero it doesn't mean na you can parang either you can volunteer or ikaw mismo yung mag-assert, no, to be more involved on a particular project, no, to ensure na exposed ka pa rin sa mga things na you like working on. Ang kagandahan lang naman with more in more leadership roles is that you get parang a better bird's eye view, no, of what's happening in the business, in the company, and that will give you more opportunities, no. Also, there are some companies, some industries, some whatever that do have technical leadership, no? So yung mga sikat, no? Like si Ilya Sutskever, 'di ba? Yung mga highly technical, 'di ba, si Yan Lacon, ganyan. Yung mga highly technical roles talaga na luminaries na sila, no, na nasa harap sila ng yan sila Mark Zuckerberg, ano yan, 'di ba? Parang ano na siya, no? He's still very technical, he's a leader, pero he still maintains yung technical acumen niya. So, don't hold yourself back. No? If nakikita ng management na there's opportunity for you, then why not? Kagatin mo. Kung if you feel na hindi mo feel ay hindi pa pala ako ready, then you can talk to your manager, you can resign, whatever, 'di ba? Wala namang pipigil sa iyo, 'di ba? So, ano siya, ultimately it will come down to what makes you happy, no? And being honest with yourself about it.
Okay. Actually it's 6:58, almost top of the hour na, and we have another
Let's collect the teka lang, collect ko
Zoom.
lang yung mga
Okay.
questions.
Yung actually transitioning. Yan. Yung transition to data engineering, whether you're a fresh grad or is it too late na ba to transition? Can someone be too
Oh,
old to start a career in tech?
Kyle, do you want to answer that?
Sorry, the question was, sorry, I was reading the comments.
Ay, sige, ako na lang kasi wala na
Sige,
tayong time.
sige, sir.
Siguro what I can tell you, guys, you will always be transitioning throughout your career. No, it's always going to be transitioning because the world is always changing, yung career mo is always changing, the market is always changing. So walang static na career, no. So you will always be transitioning. It can be lateral, it can be a different, role. Ano lang, I would say it's really being committed to move forward. Kasi and I've been there, no, yung parang takot mag next step. You need to be clear what you want to do and where you want to go, and just take the next step. Parang later mo na problemahin yung magiging problema because there will always be problems naman, no? So
Ayun. And there's always the community. Laki-laki na ng DEP, always happy yung mga yan to give advice, to everyone. So sige, continue natin yung discussion sa Discord, although hindi na ako nakabisita na Discord. ng depth.
I'll
But
post the
I'm
questions sa
ah,
I'll post the questions sa group para you can continue to answer them.
sige. All right.
Thank you.
With that, thank you very much, Mike and Kyle. Thank you, everyone. We're going to have the last for the National ICT Month next Saturday. I also posted sa chat yung if you want to join the next Zoom about cloud careers. O yan, dyan yung itanong yung mga na-experience ni Kyle na ang mahal-mahal biglang nakakalimutan kasi i-turn off yung instance. All right. Thank you, everyone. See you later if you want to join or see you next week. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.